Did you know using your browser in incognito mode doesn't actually protect your privacy? Take back your privacy with IPVanish VPN. Just one tap and all your data, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be instantly protected. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. Use IPVanish on all your devices, anytime you go online at home and especially on public Wi-Fi. Get IPVanish now for 70% off a yearly plan with this exclusive offer at ipvanish.com/audio.
Leading Britain's conversation. Tom Swarbrick. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Friday, 10 to 6, Tom Swarbrick on LBC means one thing. There's a heat bomb on the way, so put some ice in the bucket, get them tins cold, and slip, slap, slop into your noggin some of the finest storytelling on either side of the Atlantic. Sit back, relax, he'll take it from here. It's Simon Mark's American Week.
Tom, there is no question that the world changed over the past week, but there is a question about how significantly.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime.
The president last Saturday night with that stunning announcement revealing the scale of his bluff. Remember that just 48 hours earlier, he indicated that he might be willing to give diplomacy with Iran as many as 14 more days to bear fruit.
Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
From the get-go, Donald Trump insisted the airstrikes involving more than a dozen 30,000-pound bunker-busting bombs, the most powerful non-nuclear weapon in America's arsenal, had been, in his description, flawless. But when he first claimed there that Iran's nuclear facilities had been completely obliterated, he could not possibly have known whether that was the case. He was speaking right after the B-2s dropped their payloads and before any kind of battlefield damage assessment had been compiled. The same applied to Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth the following morning.
Many presidents have dreamed of delivering the final blow to Iran's nuclear program, and none could until President Trump.
For the next 48 hours, questions were batted away by the administration. What did they know about reports that the Iranians had scarpered with about 900 pounds of enriched uranium that they'd managed to load into trucks before the US attack? The administration said that was the wrong question to ask. How could they be sure that the nuclear sites had been obliterated? Trust us, they said. The president already told you the operation was flawless. So it came as a blow to the White House on Wednesday night when CNN reporter Natasha Bertrand raced onto the air with breaking news.
The strikes were only a matter of days ago, and the intelligence community is still gathering intelligence.
An early assessment by the Pentagon's own intelligence gathering arm had been leaked to her, and it was itself explosive, suggesting the president had significantly overstated the impact of the airstrikes on Iran.
The Defense Intelligence Agency has assessed that the core components of Iran's nuclear program are largely intact, and that Iran's nuclear program has essentially only been set back by months.
It is a hallmark of the society in which Americans now live that her reporting made Natasha Bertrand public enemy number one for the White House. In a confusing initial statement, the president's press secretary cast doubt on the authenticity of the leaked document while simultaneously confirming its authenticity. The White House fumed about the low-level loser in the Pentagon who had leaked the top-secret document to CNN and the New York Times. The FBI was ordered to catch the leaker, and the president on Tuesday, leaving the White House for the NATO summit, fulminated.
CNN is scum. So all night long they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks and you see, I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news.
It is worth noting that his rage that morning was fueled by the fact that the ceasefire between Israel and Iran that he had announced was temporarily in difficulty. And that led to a moment of presidential fury that became immediately iconic as it was broadcast live into America's breakfast TV programs, literally the most family-friendly broadcasts on air.
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Well, not really, because by the time he got to The Hague, the ceasefire was taking hold, and presumably by that point, the White House was revising his foul-mouthed opinion of Israel and Iran. Who knows? Certainly NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte was waiting, ready to apply plaudits to the president with a trowel at the summit, congratulating Donald Trump on his success, forcing alliance members to vote to spend 5% of GDP on defence, a number that it is worth remembering the US leader plucked entirely from the air during a January press conference before he was sworn into office.
You're going to take, I guess, a vote today, right?
Absolutely. Today we will decide unanimously to do this. That's my absolute conviction.
But that chat was quickly overshadowed when the talk between them turned to the war between Russia and Ukraine.
They've had a big fight, like two kids in a schoolyard. You know, they fight like hell. You can't stop them. Let them fight for about 2-3 minutes. Then it's easy to stop them.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language.
You have to use strong language. Every once in a while you have to use a certain word.
Of all the sycophancy we have witnessed towards President Trump since his return to the Oval Office, no other international figure comes close to matching the dollops of baby oil that Mark Rutte always deploys in Donald Trump's direction. And he hasn't even been on his knees picking up the president's papers. The American leader loves it.
I think he likes me. He did it very affectionately. Daddy, you're my daddy.
By last night, the president was selling T-shirts depicting himself as Daddy at $35 a pop, suggesting that the moniker proved America is now respected once again on the world stage. He was also continuing to threaten the media for daring to suggest that, as European officials now believe, Iran did salvage its enriched uranium and moved it to safety before the American bombing began. No one has been more of a Rottweiler in the president's defence than Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth. At times this week, he has sounded just like former Press Secretary Sean Spicer back when he was forced to insist falsely that the size of the crowd at the president's first inauguration was the largest in history. Hegseth yesterday intimated that the Pentagon press corps is filled with traitors.
How many stories have been written about how hard it is to, fly a plane for 36 hours? Have we done the story how hard that is? Have we done it 2 or 3 times so that American people understand? How about how difficult it is to shoot a drone from an F-15 or 16 or F-22 or F-35? There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that, because of the hatred of this press corps, are undermined because your people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful.
But then one veteran of the Pentagon press corps decided to challenge his nonsense, simply trying to get the facts that the administration continues to obfuscate. Her name is Jennifer Griffin, and she is the Pentagon correspondent for Fox News.
Do you have certainty that all the highly enriched uranium was inside the Fordo Mountain? Are you certain none of that highly enriched uranium was moved?
Of course, we're watching every single aspect, but Jennifer, you've been about the worst. The one who misrepresents the most intentionally what the president says. I'm familiar.
I was the first to describe the B-2 bombers, the refueling, the entire mission with great accuracy. So I take issue with that.
And let me say that even though Jennifer can more than look after herself, I take issue with it as well. I have known her for 30 years. We have worked alongside each other. I was also even at one point her boss. She is one of the most talented, rigorous, dedicated reporters it has ever been my privilege to call a colleague. And I promise you, Pete Hegseth, who you'll notice did not answer her question about Iran's uranium, doesn't have the qualifications even to clean Jennifer's shoes. But let's move on, because amid all the drama in the Big Apple this week, young, frustrated Democrats were daring to dream.
In the words of Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done.
Suddenly, a new name is galvanizing the left of the Democratic Party. Zoran Mamdani pulled off a stunning upset in the race to become the party's candidate for mayor of New York City. He handily defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had to resign from office 4 years ago amid sexual harassment claims. And at a stroke, 35-year-old Mamdani, a Democratic socialist who believes in rent freezes, affordable housing, free buses, city-owned supermarkets and taxing the rich, became the new darling of those Democrats utterly fed up with the old guard.
I will be the mayor for every New Yorker. I will fight for a city that works for you, that is affordable for you, that is safe for you. I will work to be a mayor you will be proud to call your own.
For the Democratic Party's elite, Mamdani is now a major danger. For many Jewish voters in New York, he is anathema after he defended the phrase, globalize the intifada. And the reaction from corporate America? Well, take a listen to Joe Kernan, one of the anchors on business network CNBC.
I don't want to go here, but Gotham. Have you seen what Batman is up against in Gotham and what the guy running for mayor is up against? That's what it reminds me of. They're taking Wall Streeters and make him walk out onto the ice in the East River as and then they fall through.
Yep. He insisted Mamdani favours class warfare and is threatening to eat the rich, neither of which are actually part of his official manifesto. Born in Uganda of Muslim parents, partly raised in South Africa, he can never seek the presidency. But while the 1% in New York have reason to fear him, a younger generation of Democrats wonder, Tom, if he might prove to be the superhero they have waited for to vanquish the old guard of their own party.
From Washington, D.C., Simon Marks, American Week.